Hello, everyone. This is Teresa Aker with Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. I'm so glad you joined me today. I am so excited to introduce to you Carla Collins, the amazing, beautiful comedian that I had the pleasure of meeting so many years ago. I'm so thrilled she's here, and I just want to introduce you to the best person I could possibly imagine. Hi, Carla.
I feel like I'm only going to disappoint after that amazing intro. That was so lovely. Thank you, Teresa. I'm thrilled to be talking to you today.
Thank you so much. I hope you remember a long time ago, I met you and your mom, and I was just so, you were the warmest, kindest person. And I bought your book because you were promoting your book at that time. And I was just so taken by your wonderful graciousness, and
Oh,
everyone just adored you there.
oh my goodness. Well, I think it's because I had for the longest time I had such a great feature, and that was my mom. And I think a lot of people used me to get to my mom, and I was cool with that. So it was very easy to be warm and happy around that wonderful human being. So I'm
I,
glad
I,
you got
re-
to meet my mom.
I remember your mom. It was at UOIT in Oshawa, Canada. I know you're down in the States, but you are wonderful to come on my show here in Canada for all the Canadians and the North Americans, for the US people. We all just love you, Carla. So I'm
Oh,
going to just quickly go over your bio a little bit here. I want everyone to know a little bit about Carla's background because she's really been doing a lot. So I'm going to give you a start here, and then we're going to kind of go over it. So Carla was named Comedian of the Year by Southern California Motion Picture Council. Carla Collins is an award winning comedian, actress, television, and radio host. Earlier this year, she won an LA Award for Best Supporting Actress and has appeared in numerous movies, television shows, both in United States and in Canada. She performs stand-up comedy in clubs, theaters, festivals all over North America. Carla is highly sought after comedian, MC, and auctioneer for the corporate world. Carla's reality show Carlawood is streaming on Tubi, and you have to go there because I've watched that. And Carla is a best-selling author for the book Angels, Vampires, and Douche Bags, which I have the pleasure of owning. So, Carla, thank you and welcome today.
thanks for having me, Teresa. I'm excited to chat it up. I'm a chat monster, so.
Good. So, Carla, let's talk about what you're doing now. We want the point of Success Diaries. I wanted to bring some stories of successful people and people that I like to now call friends. And let's talk about that. Can we talk about your rise to success? Can we start in the early days and perhaps move to the present time? And if there was anything that you could share with us?
Well, listen, the rise to success is always ongoing, I think, right? Because it's a roller coaster, at least especially in this business. And I was very fortunate because I was very blessed in Canada and got to be the first morning show woman on radio. I worked in television for a long time. I started everything in France, believe it or not. I took my third
Oh,
year of university over there, and there was a tall dude. There weren't a lot of tall guys in France, and I'm tall, and I wanted to meet him. So I said, I've always wanted to work on radio. Total lie. Anyway, nothing happened with that dude, but I started doing a radio show in France while I was going to university. And that kind of, when I graduated from Western, that sort of, shaped my trajectory once I got out into the working world and started at Canada's Weather Network. I always joke that I was a flight attendant for Air Canada, which I was for a summer during school. I was a weather girl, so if I had been a nurse, I would have been all three of the OG slutty Halloween costumes.
oh, I
So
love it. I love
yeah,
that. Now I'm
so
going to be thinking of you next Halloween.
that's right. You can do any of the many different jobs that I've held and make it work for you. It'll be hot on you, and you look gorgeous, by the way. I love your hair.
Oh,
So
thank you, dear.
I also have I have just a mild case. It's of ADHD, so I go all over the place. Your viewers or listeners may want to have a Sherpa guide when I'm talking, but right as I say, I think rising successes, there are rises and falls throughout your life, and it's really kind of how you deal with both. When with grace, when things are going amazing and you can't lose, and it's like a lottery win after lottery win, and then even more grace when you know, you hit, I always joke my rock bottom has a false bottom, you know, because it's an industry of highs and lows. So I think you just have to stay close to your own source, you know, without sounding trite, your own authentic self. Separate yourself from what you do, because if you are what you do, and that's a big part of my life, then you're also going to be dependent on how it's going. So you know, family, a good circle of friends, often animals help to ground. And then I always, you know, I seem to go for bigger risks, like going to the US, maybe reaching a new audience, going into comedy later in life, because I had been in broadcasting, but I really love doing the comedy, and I think we really need it right now in these rapture adjacent times. So
Do
yeah, I think it's always a combination of, you just have to be ready for those opportunities. So you prep, you do your best, and then there's luck. But also, I think the biggest thing is a mindset, which I know it sounds like I've been in LA and I sound very guru. Believe me, I try to be spiritual. I just got Botox in my third eye. The visions. I saw Gandhi playing pickleball. It was magnificent. But I think everything, the whole key, everything starts inside, right? And then they say the 3D or our lives are a reflection or a mirror back of how we're feeling inside. So, you know, you have to learn somehow to love yourself. And for the longest time, I'm like, I'm not my type. But you do yourself a favor by, you know, it's kind of, you take care of yourself and then the rest will take care of. I think so. A lot of it is just having the right mindset, which can be really hard because it's like a Japanese game show out there right now. And we're, you know, I always joke that we're on the brink of World War III. We had a pandemic that lasted longer than the man bun. The economy is shakier than a chihuahua on meth. And most alarmingly, Grey's Anatomy is still on the air. So things are crazy.
Yeah, I listen, I agree with you, Carla. We need you more than ever. We need the wonderful comedians out there that can talk to us about the lighter side of life. We were talking about that earlier just before we came on here, weren't we? We talked a bit about grief and different things that happen in life. And so not only can you get big hits in life, but now there seems to be an underlining bit of challenges that everyone's facing all over the world. And you're absolutely right. You have to find it from inside and bring it out and help each other. If you have that one good, friend or family that you can just hang on to and ride through this. You were talking earlier. I mean, it's been a good 10 years of ups and downs, and we've had to go through a lot of things, the pandemic, and we had 9/11. We had some very scary situations that we knew globally were affecting us. And that's been still a while, and it's still affecting a lot of people. So I agree with you, Carla. And that you bring the light side to it. That's what I love about you so much. You're just, even when we talk, you just have that light side and that wonderful caring about other people. You really, really exude that beauty in you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. You've got 6 hours to stop. I well,
Keep going.
I've been often accused, especially lately, of being too sensitive, and I finally just owned it. I said, yes, I am as sensitive as a nipple, and I own that. I think that's a good thing. It's
It is.
probably not going to change at this age or stage of my life. And I think the more sensitive we are to others, you know, sometimes we can't always empathize, but we can sympathize. And my whole thing is, you know, with everything going on, we're all one. Like, it's all the collective. We're all going through this together. And I do think that comedians are kind of like the rodeo clowns, you know, it just distract you from the bull crap for a while.
Yeah, I
And
like that.
then I mean, another tip. Well, another tip. Not that I've given any tips. I don't really have any tips. Don't listen to me. I don't know. My bra's being held together by duct tape, as Liz Lemon said on 30 Rock. But you know, finding things that you really love to do as a child is one of these new little like success hacks that there are two. Like, one was, you know, Louise Hayes was always saying how you have to tell yourself you love you in the mirror. And I'm like, well, this seems more awkward than watching porn with family members, but okay. And so I got through that by pretending I was talking to a dog. Like, well, I love you. Yes, who's a good girl? You are. And then
Oh, I love that.
you know, like you kind of have to. And now I'm trying to think of the second one that I was going to go to. I told you the ADHD, it's all over the map, but is doing things
Now,
that you loved as a child. So something I returned to this earlier this year, it's
okay.
almost been a year, is I wanted to be a fine artist when I was a kid. So, and I'm still friends with my high school art teacher, Mr. Olson. I'm like, I can't believe Mr. Olson and I are still pals on Facebook. But I was doodling because I've doodled the whole time, but I haven't touched art. And my brother, who now teaches art history
Oh,
uh,
that's good.
in New Zealand, yeah, he's at a private girls' school, and we're very close. And he's always around this time of year because it's his holidays. So last January, he said, make me a vision board. And so I did. I said, it's pretty powerful to draw. So I did like a little doodle of him, and I started putting around things that he wanted to manifest. And then a friend saw it and she wanted one. So I did hers with an Oscar and some money. And now I'm selling them. I just went back
Oh,
to sell, and now I'm doing these vision pop boards. And it's wonderful for me, even though like people are like, well, it must be very therapeutic. I'm like, I don't know, it kind of looks like an episode of The Bear season 3 whenever I'm doing one, because I'm just like a bundle of insecurities, and I'm like, oh, someone's paying for this, it better turn out. But I just happened, it was just by accident that I'm like, oh, one of the soothing things you can do is be more childlike. Because remember, when you're a kid, you're living in the now. It's all the
that's
things
right.
every new age self-help guru teaches we do naturally as kids.
We do.
We laugh, we don't care what people think, we're silly, we live in the moment. And so I think that's one of my new hacks, is just to be a little bit, I mean, I'm already super immature, so that helps.
That's a great feature from you too. And Carla, I saw some of your work. I did. I saw some of your work, and I didn't know you were selling it too. So, well, you know what? I'm going to have some of your pop art also posted that you
Oh,
had
thank
sent
you.
earlier. But I saw it. I think on LinkedIn you had some
I did.
projects.
Yes, I did. I think I may have. I very rarely go to LinkedIn, but I did post that,
Yeah.
and
So I'll
that's
definitely make sure we should show some of that.
awesome. Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool. Like, people send me pictures of themselves that they like, and I draw them at the center, and then I surround it with symbols and little pictures of things that they love or want to manifest. So it's a unique piece of art, and then you just put it as your wallpaper on your phone, because we look at our phone a million times a day. So I don't know, it was working for the friends I gave it to, so I'm like, I gotta make one for me.
Now I have to get one,
Yes, you
right? No,
obviously
but
you need a
Carla,
vision pop board.
that's a valuable thing. You said, when you're right. When we go back to our roots and our childhood and our imagination goes, and we don't have to worry about restrictions, life really kind of puts all those pressures and restrictions on you. And when you're a child, you're right. You have all those dreams we thought we were going to be when we were older. All the artwork that we had in classes is now gone, because of course, unless mom kept it forever.
Right.
But it's true. We played Barbies. I don't know if you did. I certainly played with
Oh,
Barbies, and
100%.
yeah,
Oh my
we
God.
always exactly. We did all of those things. So you're right, that inner child. And I did follow Louise Hay, just so you know. And same thing. I mean, you try to do. I think we try to do what we can to bring that stress level down. And we definitely know there's gurus out there. But you're right. We have to find what works for ourselves individually. I think you have to be a little bit selfish, because we spend so much time helping others, we forget about ourselves. Is that right? And you mentioned spirituality,
Mhm.
and I like that about you too.
Well, and everybody's got a different term for it too, whether it's God, the universe, you want to, I think the way to get through is that you have to know there's something bigger than yourself, whether, as you mentioned, was your soulmate, husband, or a child, or an animal, or just, the world in general. So yeah, I think we have to do the work within, because I don't think people realize how unbelievably powerful they are. And you mentioned imagination, and if you listen to Neville Goddard, he says that's what God is. It's our own wonderful imagination. So I think we have to be kind of careful and mindful of what we say. And I was horrible for that. It was my brother who said, you're rhetoric. And, especially being a comedian, because apparently the universe doesn't have a sense of humor. So when I'm joking and saying I'm either, I'm thinking I'm going to be involved in a murder suicide, not necessarily in that order. And I think it was a joke. And then I'm like, I have to be careful, because it's being said, right? Whatever
Right.
image we're bringing up, whatever we're saying. So, um, I think our imagination is our time to create, as much as we can. And we are creators. We're not just passive or victims. Of course life's going to throw things at us. I think we sort of ask for these challenges before we come in. Depends what your philosophy is, but
yeah, I agree with that. I also, Carla, I agree with you. And I think so. One of my first books, so you're talking about Neville Goddard, you're talking about the gurus from the past. One of my favorite books was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it really didn't have anything to do about the richness of I mean, it had to do monetarily, but mostly what we think inside is reflecting the outside. So we think sometimes the outside world brought it, but in fact, we brought this all on. And we have to understand that we're in this together, and it's our reflection of how we see ourselves is coming back to us, right? And
I think so.
all of
Yeah, and how we treat everybody, right?
absolutely. So if people started working inside, feeling better, and then treating everyone how you want to be treated, all of a sudden things change, right?
It really does, and it depending on people. Sometimes it changes in a second, right? Because they say there's only the current moment. Like, look how dogs live; they're always in the present. That's why they're so happy.
They
And
are.
I always think that's why their lives are shorter, because they learn everything they need to. Like they come in perfect. They're just angels. But that's just me. I like animals better than people half the time. I'm a really good animal whisperer. I was like, if I had the same effect on people, I'd be way more successful. But with animals, right here,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
cats, even
Oh,
cats,
yeah.
and that's a challenge. But they say that for the first 7 years of our life, because I do this thing called Chuckle and Chill, where I do 30 minutes of comedy, stand-up comedy, then I do a 30-minute authentic guided meditation that I wrote. And people found that a really weird combo at first, but it's the same brain state. They both laughter and meditation produce a gamma state. So, and people, I know I'm like, I'm always very hyper, and it's hard to sometimes just sit back and meditate and take
Sure.
that time. But if you laugh and you release endorphins and some energy, or maybe people hear about my life and they feel exponentially better about themselves after they hear some of my jokes, they go into an easier meditative state. And we do spend the first 7 years of our life, they say even longer, maybe up to 11, in a theta state. So we're being programmed. We're just sponges. We're like little SpongeBob. We're taking it all in. And then all of the wise ones say we spend the rest of our lives trying to deprogram all that, because we're really taking on our parents' philosophies, the clergy, our teachers. So, and again, I think that in some ways this world's built so that we, fear sells, right? I worked in a newsroom, so it was always the horrible stories, and
Well, yes.
it's
Yes.
all about fear and control. So you just, and you have to keep reminding yourself that you have an incredible power, and you have the control, and that you absolutely make a difference.
Oh,
With
oh,
one gesture, telling somebody they look great on the street, you have no idea what impact that has.
oh, absolutely. Just a simple, oh my goodness, you're absolutely right. So many people are desperate just to hear kind encouragement, just to say, gee, you look great today, or you're just wonderful when we had that chat or whatever. Just make people feel as good as they are. Sometimes we forget, we're out there and we're all in this together. And as you said, you've got to praise other people too. They want to feel loved and cared for. You talked about animals, and I heard that I have a cat also. Jewel is her name. And
Awesome.
sometimes when I'm down, I just get her to sit up with me, and she has to be in the mood, of course. Cats.
Well, I that's
They
plus
have their own inner way, don't they?
the well, the cats here on the farm, because I rescued a couple of kittens when I was here during the pandemic. I
Sure.
stay on this farm. I joke with my gay fiance; he's my best friend, and I raised those kittens as dogs, so they're very loving and needy, which is how I like them. But
Okay.
yes, and I just read that the purring of a cat is unbelievably healing,
It
because
is.
cats do that for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons they purr is to heal themselves, not just when they're happy. And as a result, I'm like, I got to work some purring into. It won't be me purring, because that's something different. That's what I do as a phone sex operator, of course. But that's
That's
another.
another show, Carla.
Well, that's why I'm so successful. I joke. I'm not on OnlyFans. I'm on Lonely Fans. It's just me, and I like my own stuff. So, but yeah, the purring's very healing, and and animals have that instinctive. They just know, and so sometimes as humans, you just have to look at someone and just know maybe they need a cuddle and a kind word, and it's going to reflect back. And I think people, I think right now so many people, and myself, you feel powerless and overwhelmed at times, but you can absolutely move that needle with the tiniest gesture, act of kindness. Again, not to sound trite, I know I kind of want to make fun of myself right now, which is why I do the comedy with the spirituality to balance it.
No,
But
that's
it's really, really like unbelievably. I mean, you before we came on, you was like, "Oh, you look so young," and I'm like, "I'm going to dine out on that for 2 weeks." I'm like, "I do? My goodness! I hope I
you
don't get
do.
caught, Barry." So like, it doesn't take a lot, and it can make a significant change.
It does, Carla, and 100%, you look amazing, and you are never aging. I said that at the beginning. Absolutely. But the thing is, Carla, you said it too. It's how we feel on the inside, and I think a lot of people have been knocked around. I think they have families they have to take care of. They're putting everything else first, and I think that's important. I understand that, but you have to take some me time. And I like that you said you did the comedy first. That makes total sense. You're shaking up your body into a good state, and then you calm down because you've gotten rid of all the negativity. You're in a good state, good, happy, positive, and then you go into the nice meditation or whatever you're going to do next to bring down that calming effect. And I think the animals do it. Your the pictures that you're doing do that. The vision boards that people have now, that gives them a goal to work towards, and it gives you, when you have a purpose and you have something to look for, I think you feel better. And as you said, animals live in the moment. We are too much in the past and too much in the future. We're too anxiety stricken to the
And
future and too
exactly.
much depression in the past, right?
And neither one exists. There is no future, there is no past.
True.
Some people say you can revise your history, which I love that. Well, I'll just lie down, at night. If something didn't go the way I wanted to that day, or even this lifetime, I'll revise it. I'll rewrite
Perfect.
it. We're the director, the script writer, the actor, of our own movies. So, and it's like, and sometimes, and it's easy to say, this crap doesn't work. Like, it's very easy to get frustrated because, especially, it's our ego fighting for our old self. They're like, no, stay in this anxious state. I always say, like, I'm an insomniac with anxiety and ADHD. I'm awake, I shake, and I flake. I like to joke about that, but they're a few little,
But
and I think they call them permission slips, because whatever we say it's going to be, it'll be. So you have
exactly.
to tell yourself, like, this is going to be the most killer day ever. I'm going to have a great time with Teresa. I'm going to get up. Everything. And even those affirmations, people say even robotic affirmations work for them, because you're still putting it out to the universe. That's why I think, I'm sure you'll notice when you're spending time with friends and you're laughing, more goodness comes, right? Because it's whole that like attracting like. And then I'll tell you, when it's a perfect storm, it's one thing after the other, because you remain in that state of fear and panic, and we've all done it. We're humans. That's the whole point. And
I,
so just to try to override those emotions, and it's obviously easier said than done. That's why I'm like a tall Yoda with fake breasts for everyone in my life, but it's hard to do it for yourself. That's why we all need,
yeah,
friends, family, someone, because you just have an easier perspective.
you do.
But the key is to do it for yourself, is to take that time and, as I said, go inside. We're all our own little ways navigating system, or Google, like, all the answers are within, apparently.
I agree with that. And I would also bring it back to happiness. You have to be as happy as you can. And as you're going along in life, yes, you're going to have hits, but you got to try to be happy. Which brings me to all of your shows. I want you to talk to us. I know you have a new book coming, perhaps. You have some shows coming up that I know you, and I actually know you're going to be in Canada. So I'm thrilled about that.
Yes,
Uh
I'm in Canada now. That's why I'm
thank you,
wearing the
Carla.
toque.
Thank you. I should, yes, thank you. Great. So everyone, Carla's here. And so I wanted to ask you, Carla, about your shows. Can you give us some dates and what shows you're doing in the next little while?
I can. I'm going to be headlining at a new club. Well, new to me. I haven't been there. I understand it's just beautiful, called Jokers. And that's in Richmond Hill. It's Friday and Saturday, December 13th and 14th. So you
Okay.
can get tickets for that at Joker's online, or you can follow me at Carla Collins Comedian on Instagram. It has all the information there. And then I'm off to the Rope Factory in Brantford on December 28th. I have 2 shows at Standing Room Only, which is the coolest, hottest new bar. Literally, it only fits, I think, 15 or 20 people in Guelph, Ontario, which is one of my hometowns, on
Love
January
Guelph. Great
2nd and
place.
9th. Yeah, I love Guelph. I have nothing but good memories there. So that's January 2nd and 9th at Standing Room Only. And then at Donnelly's Irish Pub, I played there last week, and I'm going back on January 10th, just before I head back to LA.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'll put that in the bio as well. So everyone, you'll be able to see Carla's shows. So that's wonderful. What else do you have coming up for us, Carla?
Well, we talked about the Vision Pop boards. I'm
We did.
also I finished writing a book. My I think maybe some people watching know about my doggies, but Dr. Zero was the last of 3 dogs. She was a Chihuahua Min Pin mix, and she passed away. And that was deep grief. So what I've done is I've written I call it a children's book, but it's really for adults, kind of in the same vein as The Little Prince, my mom's favorite book, and Watership Down. So it's kind of a self-help book, but told through stories about my 3 dogs, Dr. Zira, Miles, and Buster. So it's a love letter to them. But it's and I we're just animating it now. I have a friend doing some of the art. I'm going to do some of the art, so that might take a while. But
Okay.
it should be out next year, and it's basically, I think when a pet or someone dies, it's hard to know what to do or say. So I'm hoping this book, because even though it's in the guise of a children's book, it tackles big issues like divorce and death and illness and things that kids have to deal with sometimes way too early. So for your child, for your inner child, I have an inner child star. I think it was the Olsen twins, and that explains a lot about my life. So I think that yeah. So I'm hoping that'll be and sort of in the same vein as Angels, Vampires, and Douche Bags, but
Okay.
not so much funny. More, more another self-help guide, but through the doggies.
Okay, great. That's good. Now, and I know that you help people along the way too. So any areas that you are that we can add to the bio, we're going to do that in the bottom here, Carla, because I really want people to, they already know you and they're seeing you here today. And as always, you're just so beautiful and warm and friendly, and you're always trying to help people. And that's why I'm very grateful that you came on my show today, because we want to talk about that. When people help others, I want to be able to bring that forward, and you're one of the best, really. You're just
Oh,
terrific.
I just love you. I just want to be here for the rest of the day, just listening to your lovely compliments.
Yeah,
If you're just
no, but
audio, I keep telling her to get out of here. I know none of us can take compliments. That's another thing where I'm like, yes, thank you, Teresa.
you're
Well,
welcome.
a lot of people help me,
And
and
that
I'm very conscious of that, right? Like that's kind of our thing. So I do private chuckle and chills. People can get a hold of me for that. And I put a lot out on content on the various platforms where I just, so whatever I can do. I know I feel like the David from Schitt's Creek. The idea of me as a life coach should horrify you, but you won't be bored.
another Canadian show, so thank you for mentioning them. And
Yeah.
I love that show. That's just amazing, amazing show.
When a show
Um,
can make you laugh and cry, I had the pleasure of, the reason I'm in Canada is I got to open for Dan Hill and Andy Kim.
oh, okay.
And they're touring with something called Night of Song and Storytelling, and I have to tell you that it's just exceptional. If they come to your town, these 2 Canadian icons, and they're like the Paul McCartney and John Lennon, because poor Dan Hill, his songs are also torturous, and I think came out of trauma bonding with various women, and stories about his mother had me like laughing, he had me crying. And Andy Kim's, got this beautiful wife of 30 years. He still looks the same as he did in the 60s. He's like, sugar, sugar. So it's a great, balance. And yeah, and Andy Kim is kind of like Canada's Rumi. Like, he would just come up to me and say, Carla, we only have so many heartbeats. And then I think he vaporizes. And I'm like, thank you, Andy. When you're lost, it's exactly when you're found. And then he would just leave. And I'm like, thank you for another nugget. And
Wow.
yeah, so Yes, again, not really sure what my point was, but another more great Canadian talent.
I know, and we have a lot of it, and we're very grateful. I'm thrilled that you are with us today. If any, you gave us a lot of information of what you're doing. Is it if somebody wanted to reach out to you now, would that be through your webpage, or what would be the best way for them to reach out to you, Carla?
I do have a website where people can reach out to me. It really needs updating because everything is so moved to
Oh,
socials, and
sure.
I don't have the young man that was doing it, and I'm a bonnet away from being Amish when it comes to changing things on my website. But it's
Got it.
carlacollins.com. But the best way to get a hold of me
Okay.
for any of these things would be through Instagram.
Okay.
Carla Collins comedian. As I joke, it's all with a C. They're all C words, but the good kind. Carla Collins comedian. And I'm on Facebook and all the platforms. So
Sure.
you can find me there, or Carla at carlacollins.com. You can email me because that's the same email that you'd get if you go to my website. So that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Carla, thank you so much for being here today. We absolutely adore you. Thank you. And I will make sure that everything is on the bio. Your bio is on our YouTube. It'll be on LinkedIn, all the places where we're going to be able to get a nice view of this video, and you'll be on all of the social media so everybody could see your wonderful words of encouragement. Okay. For everybody else, this is Teresa Aker of Success Diaries. It's Success Diaries with Teresa Aker show. I'm very grateful for all of you to join us today. Look for Carla in the next few weeks. She's staying in Canada for a little while longer, then back to the States. And we're very happy that you're with us today. If you
You're
want to
beautiful
get
inside and out. You're beautiful inside and out. I just want to tell you that.
Oh, thank you. You're so nice. You are too. So, everybody, definitely check out Carla Collins. And if you want to go to Success Diaries, go to Success Diaries with teresaaker.com. I'm happy to get all of your wonderful information there. Anything that you had to comment on Carla, it's going to be on there. And I'm just thrilled to have all of you invited into my show. So, thank you again. And you all have a wonderful day. I look forward to talking to you soon.